Did you ever wonder about how the stories got in the Bible in the first place? Who wrote them down first? Who told them first? The stories were very important to the people. They wanted to remember where they came from, what happened to them, God's love for them, and God's promises to be with them in good times and bad times. The people told the stories over and over and over again so that they would remember them. When people tell stories more than one time, do they tell them the same way every time? And when more than one person tells you a story, do they tell it the same way every time? The people wrote the stories down too, and sometimes the people writing the stories down had different ideas about what to leave in or take out. Or maybe they had a new idea about how God was working in the world or working in their lives. Over the years, the stories changed a little bit, but the people knew God was talking to them through the stories if they listened closely. This story today is called Let My People Go. Put on your listening ears. Let's watch.
Moses was a shepherd in the desert, and one day he saw a strange bush. It was burning, but it wasn't being burnt up. Very curious, he went to check it out, to see. And suddenly, God spoke to him.
No, the story starts with that the children of Israel were slaves in Egypt, and they cried out to God to save them and free them, and so God chose Moses.
I love this story, but there's some things missing. God also said to Moses, Moses, take off your shoes, this is holy ground, and take Aaron with you.
God said to Moses, you must go to Egypt and tell the Pharaoh, let my people go.
Yeah, but you got to remember that God also said, Pharaoh will say no, but I will make them let the people go. God said that too.
But then you will lead the Hebrews to a land where they'll be free and always have plenty to eat. So Moses went to Pharaoh.
Moses didn't want to go, but he knew he had to obey God, so he went.
And he took his brother Aaron with him.
Moses told Pharaoh, God says, let my people go. Pharaoh said, nah.
Boy, Pharaoh was really stubborn. He got angry and made the people work even harder.
God made Pharaoh angry and he gets even worse. You'll see.
Moses raised his staff and it began to hail really hard, smashing the plants in the fields and crushing the trees. And in fact, I have some of that hail right here. And once the hail stopped, suddenly out of nowhere appeared a huge swarm of locusts. And they crawled everywhere, eating all the plants that hadn't been killed by the hail. And if that wasn't enough, Moses made it really dark, dark as night for 3 days. And the Egyptians hated the darkness, so they said to the Hebrews, go, get out of town.
I think Moses is going to need a bigger miracle than that from God to change Pharaoh's mind.
Even then, Moses won't be able to do it by himself. He will need Aaron's help.
Let's see. Let's put in a few more plagues. First one is God turned the river Nile red so there wasn't any clean water. That old Pharaoh, when Moses asked him again, he'll let the people go.
No, he won't. Moses and Aaron turned all the water in Egypt red.
Wow.
But Pharaoh's magicians were able to do the same trick like it.
Okay, well, if that doesn't work, God will send, let's see, frogs up out of the river and in everybody's everybody's houses all over the place. And then he's going to send swarms of flies and pestilence. And then the animals will get sick. And then the animals will get sick. And they will start to die.
I bet he won't let them go, though. Pharaoh's heart is as hard as a rock.
Well, if it's not the animals dying, then maybe if people died, that would be the worst thing. So every oldest child in a Hebrew house died.
How many plagues is that now?
That is, let's see, we started with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're up to 8 plagues in our story.
You know, that's terrible. But I think we should add itchy lice and sores. That will make 10. That's a nice even number, and that will be better.
Finally, Pharaoh let the people go.
Moses led them all the way to the Reed Sea. Hebrews, ho!
Now, wait a minute. Now, God sent a column of fire and cloud that led them to the Red Sea.
But then Pharaoh changed his mind and sent his armies after them.
And then the people were trapped.
Moses parted the sea so the Hebrews could walk across the seafloor.
Wait. God sent a strong wind to blow the water away and make a dry path so that the people could cross. But then the Egyptian army tried to cross behind them, and the sea rushed in and drowned them all.
At last, the Hebrew people were free to go to the land that God had promised them.
This is a good story now, but it's a mess. I'm going to make a clean copy. Oh, thank you. Look, this is much better.
That was a good story. Thank you, Mr. Tim and Miss Nancy and Miss Jackie, for telling us the story of Let My People Go. But do you think that Mr. Tim and Miss Nancy and Miss Jackie told that story the same way? Yeah, it was a little bit different, wasn't it? Who was right? People do notice different things, and they remember different things, and they think about different things. If you and your friend tell me the story of what happened in preschool class today, would you tell it the same way? Who would be right? Or would it just be different? Maybe you're both right. Maybe we learn more because you tell it one way and your friend tells it the other way. Two people telling a story don't usually say exactly the same thing, and sometimes that can be a good thing. Stories in the Bible were sometimes written over hundreds of years. It's not very surprising that they changed a little bit over time. What happened to you just happened in preschool, and you don't tell that story the same way either. Does it matter that the people who wrote the stories in the Bible told them differently? Why do you think? Or why not? Yeah, that's true. People do think about God in different ways, and different storytellers do help us see God in new ways too. And no person knows everything there is to know about God, not even Pastor David. What do you think was most important about the story you heard today? God saved his people? Yes, that's true. God sent someone to care for her people and lead them. That's true too. God wanted the people to be free, to let Pharaoh let the people go. Those are all good lessons to learn from the stories we hear in the Bible.